freezes just like ice, and there's a cold and lonely light that shines from you. You wind up like the wreck you hide behind that mask you use. And did you think this fool could never win? Well, look at me, I'm coming back again. I got a taste of love in a simple way, and if you need to know while I'm still standing, you just fade away. Don't you know I'm still standing better than I ever did, looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. And I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once I never could have hoped to win. You're starting down the road, leaving me again.
Living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised right here in Houston. He took the midnight train going anywhere. Near. A singer in a smoky room, smell of wine and cheap perfume. Oh, a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on. Come on, strangers waiting, looking down the bar, their shadows.
She's homeless. 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 She's She wakes up early every morning just to do her hair now because she cares, y'all. Her day wouldn't be right without her makeup. She's never out of makeup. She's just like you and me, but she's homeless. She's homeless. As she stands there singing for money, what's gotta be, what's it gotta be, what's it gotta be, what's gotta be, what's it gotta be, what's it gotta be, what's it gotta be homeless. Well, I got my homeless. You try hard not to care about the homeless, 'cause you got your homeless. Your baby make enough for you. Well, is she all lies? Should you
Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing over there? No? All right, just letting you guys know, we'll be getting started within like 5 minutes, and we are live streaming at that time. So, again, how you doing? How you doing over there? Yeah. I'm not convinced, but okay. Thank you.
Don't you promise me the world, all that I've already heard. This time around for me, baby, action speaks louder than words. If you're looking for devotion, talk to me. Come with your heart in your hand.
Okay, I'm gonna use my outside voice now because I need y'all attention right now. Okay? People, are you ready? No answer. That side of the room is thank you, thank you. All right, we are getting started right now, and I would like to welcome everyone to the 2023 Employee Fall Startup. Yes. Celebrate yourselves indeed. Okay. I'm True, your DJ and MC for today. I don't want to talk much about me. I think I just want to leap into bringing up our first speaker. Apologize. Which is, I'd like to invite Dr. Yael Katz, Georgian's Vice President, to deliver the Indigenous Land Acknowledgement.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. This is so cool having everybody here at the same time. Okay, I am honored on behalf of Team Georgian to deliver today's land acknowledgement. Georgian College acknowledges that all of our campuses are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. Georgian College is dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Personally, as an educator with a deep reverence for language and a passion for creativity, I am always and once again reminded of the connection between land and story. And so with today's land acknowledgement, it is my honor to also acknowledge the many layers of story and language that connect us to one another, and to extend my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to all those who have cared and those who continue to care for both land and language. I would now like to invite Marilyn George to perform an honor song that will lead us into the new academic year in a good way. Marilyn.
Miigwech for that nice introduction. Wewena bojo. Wasanango kwed ni Indigenous cause. Ganabajing donjaba, Midland and da, Makwanin dodem, Ojibwe Anishinaabe kwe. My name is Marilyn George, and I'm from the Serpent River First Nation. I reside in Midland, and I'm Ojibwe. I'm an Ojibwe woman. And thank you for inviting me back. I really enjoy coming here and meeting all you beautiful people. The song that I'm going to sing is one that I wrote myself, and I think it would be really a great song for everyone here. You're all ready to start your new beginnings, new students, some maybe new faculty, and new employees, and you're all ready to get started on your new endeavor. It's called Moving Forward, Niganen. Nigani Chimiwet.
Thank you, Dr. Kat and Marilyn. Okay, as for our next speaker, hails from Hanover, is a diehard Maple Leafs and sports fan, loves science and tech, appreciate the outdoors, local patios, and exploring. Listening to the Tragically Hip, he has called Jordan home since 2014. You will know him best for his role as our president and CEO. Welcome, Kevin Weaver.
Wow. Ani, Sego, Tanshe, hello and good morning, Team Georgian. Okay, I think we can do a little bit better than that. So, DJ True, are you going to help me out a little bit here? But let's try that again. We're just waiting for DJ True. He's going to help us out here. We'll try that again. Good morning, Team Georgian.
Okay, y'all sound ready for real now. Are you ready though?
I'm ready.
Ready. All right.
We're doing one more time?
One more time?
One more time. Good morning, Team Georgian.
I think now we're ready.
Thank you, DJ True.
Okay.
I might have caught him off guard a little bit there. We're agile. Well, it's so great to be here. I want to start with a thank you, Miigwech, to Marilyn. Thank you for that honor song, and to start this event and our academic year off in such a good way. It means a lot to have you here with us today. Thank you, Marilyn. I also want to thank our student athletes for accompanying me on stage. Didn't they do a great job? They have such spirit and enthusiasm and a great way to start, and I know you'll bring that same energy into your studies and on the field, court, and green this year. Go Grizzlies! Well, this for me is one of the most exciting times of the academic year, and I can think of no better way than to kick it off by coming together to celebrate. It's hard to believe it's the end of August already, but how wonderful to connect before we head into what we know is a busy fall semester, and we welcome thousands of new and returning students. I'm deeply appreciative of connecting with folks at Coffee with Kevin. I've visited a few campuses so far. We had coffee, of course, here this morning in Barrie, and I'll have one more this week and one next. I valued hearing what's on your mind, including your ideas and your feedback. I also want to thank Team Georgian for a successful summer semester. I hope each of you found time to enjoy this season and all that our incredible campus communities have to offer. It's important we take a breath whenever we can. I know even a long weekend with my family is often enough to refuel me. I want to give a warm welcome to those joining us both in person and via live stream, whether you're at your desk or with your colleagues from your campus. And a special hello to those experiencing their first fall startup. So if this is your first time at this event, would you please stand? and that includes all those viewing from another campus or at home. Let's welcome these folks. We're so glad you've joined Team Georgian. Welcome. There are also some folks missing out because they're covering frontline roles and supporting our students. And I want to acknowledge their part in making it possible for all of us to gather. Thank you. We wish you were here with us. In case you're wondering, we are recording this event, and it will be available to watch later and posted on the employee portal. Being here today and feeling the great excitement of the new academic year, I'm reminded of the power of community. And I'm absolutely inspired by the amazing one we've built and we continue to strengthen together. I mean it when I say that we share something truly special at Georgian, and I'm so proud, humble, and grateful to serve as your president. I stood before you a year ago and I expressed my deep appreciation for the ways you showed up for our students and each other during some very disruptive and difficult times. While we've since settled into new routines and are experimenting with new ways of teaching, learning, and working, the world around us continues to change. Workplaces and students' needs continue to evolve, and we face a degree of uncertainty. And to some, that might feel daunting, perhaps even scary. But to others, that might be energizing because it means there's an opportunity to contribute, innovate, and embrace the potential of what's ahead. However you may be feeling at this moment, once again, let me express my heartfelt gratitude. Thank you for continuing to persevere, for pushing yourself and your teams, for collaborating to turn creative ideas into meaningful action. Thank you for supporting and engaging with our partners in fresh ways, for developing new tools and resources, for continuing to put students first and our people and planet at the center of all we do. Thank you for finding hope in and living our mission every day to inspire innovation, transform lives, and connect communities through the power of education. And thank you for your self-reflective and mindful work to create a culture where everyone feels seen, heard, valued, and knows they belong, where every voice matters. Your thoughtful, compassionate approach is what will continue to guide us and ensure we meet, move through, and rise stronger from any new challenges we may face. Your changemaker spirit is what we're ultimately instilling in our students. And you, they, and more than 96,000 alumni give me immense confidence in our future. If there's anything to be certain of, it's in the impact you and this great institution can have. Chi miigwech. One of the things I love most about Georgian is that we're home to an increasingly diverse community of employees, students, and alumni with unique thoughts, skills, experiences, and perspectives. We truly are and can even be better together. Today's keynote speaker understands this well and is here to share how we can build on and learn from our differences to create an even healthier, happier, more motivated and inspiring workplace, and ultimately, a more inclusive world. Named one of Canada's top 10 notable speakers by Ignite magazine, Tina Varughese cleverly tackles hot-button topics like diversity and inclusion in today's complex climate. Her work has been featured in the Toronto Star, TSN, CBC Eye Opener, Adrenaline Magazine, and Alberta Venture. She has clients that include Pfizer Canada, Kraft Heinz, Hyundai Canada, TELUS, Loblaws, and Canada Life. Tina is the past president of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers Alberta chapter and was recently named to McMaster University's Future of Canada Project Council. She has a strong professional background in immigration, where she ran international recruitment missions. Tina also ran her own successful relocation and settlement firm prior to speaking professionally. She has been the face of diversity, literally. Tina was chosen to be in Dove's campaign for Real Beauty, representing beauty and diversity. She resides in Calgary with her 2 kids, 5 fish, and 1 husband. And I really feel there's a story to be had there. Please join me in giving Tina a warm Grizzly welcome.
Well, Kevin got athletes, but I managed to coordinate the Grizzlies t-shirt with the tongue with my lipstick and my blazer. Thank you. Thank you. So I know that you have a famous alumni that came from Georgian, and I had the wonderful opportunity to keynote with John Montgomery last March. But that wasn't actually my first time keynoting with John. 10 years prior, when I was like a little baby keynoter, and I actually wasn't even keynoting then, I was doing breakouts and concurrents and building my speaking career, I met John. We were both presenting at a conference. I was doing a breakout. He was the big keynoter. And he came up to me and he said, "Tina, would you like to wear my big gold medal around your neck?" And I said, "Yes, John. I'd love for you to put your big, gold, very heavy medal around my incredibly petite neck." Okay, it maybe didn't go down quite like that. Maybe it didn't sound quite like that, but it definitely sounds like that in my head when I replay it. Therefore, it's truth. Now, this was before cancel culture, and I decided to tweet out the following tweet about my dalliance with John Montgomery. "A little brown sugar with a sprinkling of ginger makes a fine ginger snap." Thank you, I know. I was very proud of the tweet. Now, John did not retweet my tweet. But guess who did? John Montgomery's mother. I know, I think she wants us together. I do, and that's why I posed. Like we're going to a wedding together. He's not posing that way, but I was. Anyway, alrighty, we are talking about Better Together, and this is an inclusive, interactive keynote today. So I want you to pull out your iPhones, your Androids, pretend you're gonna take a picture of that QR code that just came up. Now, for my remote attendees joining, you can also join by going to slido.com, #Georgian. So if you can't get in via QR code, go to slido.com, #Georgian, and you will be able to participate. Once you're in, you're in. You're not gonna have to do this each and every time. If you miss it on the first go, it's gonna come up each time we do a Slido. All right, so I want you to take a quick look at the following picture that I have put up today, and I just want you to take a look at it. And then I want you to answer the following question. Using one word only, describe how seeing this picture makes you feel. Using one word only, I want you to describe how seeing this picture makes you feel. So far we have frantic, scared, swimming, organized, busy, memory, invisible, peaceful, calm, busy, flow, stressed, connected, freedom, groupthink, noisy, nervous, teamwork, overwhelmed, peace, chaotic, swoosh, swoosh, that was creative, sad. Someone said sad, but someone said proud. Someone said team spirit, and someone said tropical, and many more wonderful descriptive words are coming up. I will admit the most descriptive I've ever seen was omega 369, was the one that I saw that I felt was the most descriptive. All right, so some said synchronized, water, family, unity, school, group. All right, so let's look at a new picture. You're gonna look at a new one this time. And now what I want you to do is essentially answer the same question using one word only. Describe how seeing these fish made you feel. So someone said Dory, happy, Nemo, colorful, calm, bright, fashion, nostalgia, forgetful, surf, Windows 7, that's creative. I would like to meet the person who said that. Parent, union, hungry, get their snacks, get something, that's terrible. Energized, pretty, ecosystem, tranquility. Most common words being peaceful, vibrant, happy, calm, bright, colorful, creative, tropical. The seaweed is always greener. That's a long creative. This is a very creative group. Okay. Someone said young. That's interesting. Someone said cute. So I don't know if you noticed any sort of differences, because there's no right or wrongs with that question. But I will say that the second picture that you looked at was actually a picture of a community aquaria. So what you may have noticed with that first picture is all the fish were actually going in the same direction. They were all the same size, they were all the same color, they were all followers, and they were all actually going downwards. A community aquaria is where fish from all over the world, you might have gouramis from Southeast Asia and angelfish from Brazil and swordtails from Mexico. You might have bifish and transfish and cisfish, all in the same place. They were going in different directions, different colors, different sizes, and they're not necessarily following one another. They're going their same way, or they're going in different ways. And a community aquaria, the key piece to it is that they naturally, the fishies, will naturally acclimatize to the water temperature that they're in, and they're solely brought for entertainment value. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could strive to have workplaces that are like community aquarias, where people are brought together simply for entertainment value, where we go in all different directions, but we all congregate together and collaborate creatively, and we acclimatize without any issues whatsoever. How can we possibly do that? Well, by incorporating an understanding of inclusivity when it comes to different types of diversity when we're looking at the workplace. So I will tell you, this is my most popular keynote post-COVID. I think that with COVID, we somehow went from languishing to fragility. And people want connection, people want collaboration, people want togetherness. And so how do we get there? How do we do that? Well, we become more inclusive in our leadership. Now, I don't define leaders by title, rank, or position, but rather by those that can influence, inspire, and impact, which is everybody that showed up today. So we're going to be talking about 3 key components of different types of diversity and understanding that from our own leadership perspective. Generational diversity, behavioral diversity, and cultural diversity. So let's first talk about generational diversity. Now, I am not a big proponent of stereotyping any generation. I find that type of learning is quite useless. I'm not going to say millennials are lazy. I'm a Gen X. I know many lazy Gen Xers. So that's not what we're going to do today. I'm not going to say, okay, when your Gen Zs go off to school in September, I don't want you to say, have a good day when they go to school, because that's going to put too much pressure on them. You're going to say, have the day you're going to have. Feel the feels. No. We won't go there. That's just not fair. But what I will say is that we are influenced culturally, historically, environmentally, when it comes to generations. And you felt it when we had experienced COVID, the Corona coaster, the ride that none of us chose to go on. How our kids, for those of you that have children, I had 2 in school age and 1 in university, well, how they're going to come out of COVID is going to be very different than a baby boomer might come out of COVID. So it's different perspectives. Same historical event, but very different perspectives. So what I also want to touch on is how the demographic of our population in Canada is looking currently. And what you can notice from the pie chart is that we are very close in percentage with all of the generations that are currently working today. But what's key to recognize is that the millennial generation is absolutely our largest demographic working in Canada right now at 33%. This is in the States, it's about 34%. And so just to recognize this is the largest population and it's growing with time. So those are perspectives that I want you to keep in mind, because I always we want to figure out what we potentially need to shift or change, and not in an integral way. Sometimes it's just a small shift in how we lead, but we can't lead without the awareness. So I just wanted to show you that demographic. So I want you to take a quick look at all of the leadership traits that I've put up on the PowerPoint. And what I want you to do now is, and recognize there are no right or wrong answers. I really want you to use this as a self-discovery tool. I want you to choose 4 leadership traits that you resonate with the most as a leader. So the leadership style that you exude at the workplace. So for example, maybe you feel you're very democratic, you're a visionary, you're informal, and you're compassionate. So have those 4 leadership traits in mind. And I want you only to choose 4, that you can choose them all from the same line, it doesn't matter, but I want you to have 4 in mind that you truly resonate with. All right, so now let's see a little bit about these leadership traits. So what we noticed is that each generation resonated with certain leadership traits, which isn't a bad thing. But when we have a changing demographic when it comes to generations in the workplace, we might need to potentially shift our leadership style. So for example, if your face-to-face or your connection is mostly with students that are falling in Gen Z, and you did not add inclusivity, compassionate, or curious as one of those leadership traits, ask yourself, how can you? So you really want to look at the gaps in your leadership capacity compared to who you're working with the most, if that be students, if that be your coworkers. So every one of you is going to have a different answer to this question and how you might need to shift. So your next slide out. If you participated in the first one, it'll come up automatically. Did you add fun as a leadership trait? And again, my remote attendees can participate wholly in the Slidos, and I'll kind of state the answers once we have at least 50% playing along. So let's just see, we're almost there actually, because we have a big crowd today actually. Oh, how long do I wait? This is interesting. I never know where this is going to come out. I never know. Wow. Okay. This is it. So 52%. Whoa. 51. Whoa, really? Really? 51%. 52%. Look at that. No, we're not going to have fun and we're going to win at this one. 52% of you said, no, I didn't add fun as a leadership trait. 49% said yes. I did add fun as a leadership trait. Way to go, Georgian College, because that is one of the highest ratings I have ever actually seen in terms of fun as a leadership quality. And why do we want to have fun at the workplace? So sometimes we look at laughter at the workplace as a waste of time, that we don't look at laughter as a potential metric. Well, positive workplace cultures, according to research, will increase productivity minimally by 12%. Yet negative workplace cultures will inversely impact productivity minimally by 10%. So productivity will decrease when we have negative Nellies in the room. Now, we all know that our negative Nellies and the nasty Neds work at every workplace. These are the people that, you know, but what if it rains? Like, they're the Eeyores of the work world. And if you're like, no, I don't have anyone like that in my department. I can't think of anybody. It's you. It's actually you. Because there's always one, but your colleagues aren't going to tell you. They're scared of you. I don't work with you. I can tell you, it's you. Now, interestingly enough, over 58% of employees will actually choose to have a positive workplace culture over money. So don't underestimate the power of fun, laughter, and happiness at the workplace. So I'll tell you a fun story. I put it on my Instagram yesterday. I flew WestJet yesterday, and our wonderful flight attendant, Cheryl, said, "Welcome aboard. I am so happy to see all these smiles after the pandemic." And in turn, who's here coming from Calgary to Toronto celebrating a birthday? No one puts up their hands. Celebrating a wedding? No one puts up their hand. Celebrating a divorce? A couple hands went up. And then at the end of it all, she actually said, "If you like my humor, my name is Cheryl. If you don't like it, my name is Mary. Welcome to WestJet." And I just thought this was brilliant. Like, who has fun flights anymore? She then made us introduce, this is no word of a lie, she made us introduce ourselves to our seat partners. Can you imagine? So Matt and Harmony and I got to meet each other. But what's really strange now is I go to the bathroom after the 4.5-hour flight, and I'm greeted with someone saying, "Hey, Tina," like she's my best friend. Well, it's Harmony. And that's the impact that Cheryl had in a 30-second spiel about oxygen masks. So to me, that's brilliant, because we all know flying hasn't become fun. So to switch it that quickly, that positivity had an exponential impact on everyone on that flight, which is pretty cool. Now, I want you to think about best practices when it comes to practicing generational inclusion. So first of all, recognize people's attributes. So what does that mean? Let's get out of job descriptions that are literally in the box and think about what makes people passionate. Maybe you have someone on your team that loves social media, they do TikTok videos, they do Instagram, they're Kevin. Basically, they're Kevin. I heard he's a TikTok guy. So you find out that they have this passion and flair to do these things, so why not have them start to do a little bit of that in the workplace, even if they're your accountant within your division. So maybe it doesn't necessarily fit the job description, but it fits their passion. When we're looking at recruitment, so even with your students, if you're trying to promote Georgian, a great way to do this is, again, via social media in real time. Deloitte and Touche actually have a live Twitter feed that they call Life at Deloitte, and they allow their employees to run it so that people can see in real time what the corporate culture is like at Deloitte. Give me a woot woot if you are a mentor or a mentee. It's like little dying birds. Ooh, 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 ooh. So I'm a big proponent of mentorship. It is a fabulous practice for generational inclusion. I have, this is no word of a lie, a 74-year-old who mentors me on Google Analytics. And I cannot tell you how much I learned from my kids who are, well, what are they now, 19, 20, with Instagram. Because my daughter literally said, so babe, this many pictures with you in fuzzy socks with a coffee cup blurred isn't cutting it anymore. So she had to teach me, right? And so we can learn so much from those mentoring positions. And lastly, I want you to think about communication. How are you communicating at the workplace? Because different generations prefer to communicate differently. For the most part, baby boomers prefer face-to-face communication. And it makes sense, high touch versus high tech. I'm a Gen X. Gen Xers prefer emails, texts. Personally, I think it's because I'm forgetting things and I need a written account. So I don't know what the why is. Our Gen Zs, millennials, really like brainstorming, Google Drive, Snapchat, Zoom, because they're more collaborative. And that's how education has evolved too. It's becoming more collaborative even in classrooms as young as grade 4, grade 3, more collaboration in the classroom. All right, we're gonna switch it a little bit and talk about diversity when it comes to behavioral diversity. So a lot of you probably have a good understanding if you're an introvert or an extrovert, but you may not necessarily know by how much or how little, because sometimes some of us are really introverted and sometimes we might be on that spectrum. So I'm gonna give you a real-time quiz. You can do this in your heads. You don't need pen to paper, but if you want pen to paper, we're only going up to 20. I'm going to ask you a series of questions to see where you are on that scale. So, and I want you to answer honestly because, again, this is for your own self-discovery. Big believer of self-discovery work. I prefer one-on-one conversations to group activities. Give yourself a point if you agree. I often prefer to express myself in writing. Give yourself a point if you agree. I enjoy solitude. I seem to care less than my peers about wealth, fame, and status. I dislike small talk, but I enjoy talking in depth about topics that matter to me. People tell me that I'm a good listener. I'm not a big risk taker. I enjoy work that allows me to dive in with few interruptions. I like to celebrate birthdays on a small scale with only 1 or 2 close friends or family members. People describe me as soft-spoken or mellow. I've never been described like that in my lifetime, ever. I prefer not to show my work or discuss it with others until it's finished. I dislike conflict. I do my best work alone. I tend to think before I speak. I feel drained after being out and about, even if I've enjoyed myself. I often let calls go to voicemail. If I had to choose, I'd prefer a weekend with absolutely nothing to do than one with too many things scheduled. I don't enjoy multitasking. I concentrate easily. In classrooms, I prefer lectures to seminars. With that, are you an extrovert or an introvert according to the quick test that you just did? Now, I always find these answers super fascinating too. So far, I don't know if we're going to have a fun battle again. So far, see, this happens every time. Every time. 61% introverted, 39% extroverted, and I feel very confident it's the extroverts right now that are discussing their answers. They're all like they're just chatting about it. I'm like, I'm up here. Can you chat later? Later, extroverts. Happens every time. Every time. So, are you surprised at all by those answers? I heard a lot of resounding yeses. I am not. I have presented this particular keynote to thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people across Canada and the States. Comes out, anecdotally speaking, almost every time slightly over 60%. With every audience, regardless of sector, regardless of where I'm speaking, it is the same. We seem to have a prevalence towards introversion than extroversion. And this piece is something that people really resonate with. So let's go over some of this. So first of all, I'd like to show you a few self-proclaimed introverts that actually exist out there, which you might not have known, that these people are very introverted in nature, given what they do. Interesting fun fact, a lot of professional speakers are introverted. They don't actually go out before they speak. They don't necessarily talk to attendees. That's not me, but they exist. I hear they actually exist. Most are. So let's debunk some of the myths or biases that exist when it comes to introverts. Introverts are shy. Myth! I'm going to sing each and one of those answers. I am. I don't mind if anybody joins me. I'd actually prefer it. Introverts are not shy. They simply need space to recharge. So my husband is a classic introvert. And of course, not sure if this comes through, I am an extrovert. So usually if I'm not traveling about, I'm working from a home-based office, so he comes home from work and I'm just like, boom, Velcroed onto him, just like, what'd you do, how'd you, everything. And he finally said to me, now recognize we've been married for a very long time, he says to me, I can't believe people pay you to speak. I would pay you not to speak. It's a true story. I can't make this up. So, recognize even after today's event, which is technically supposed to be like an energetic event, you're going to have a wonderful lunch, some of you might feel drained. And that's simply your introversion coming through. You go to a conference and you miss a couple of the breakouts, that's your introversion coming through. So just be aware of it, but also the extroverts need to be aware of it. Sometimes when people don't come out afterwards, we're like all offended by it, when in essence, sometimes people just need that space to recharge. It's just how they're functioning. Introverts are not smart. Sing it with me. Myth. We need to work on that, but that was very good. That was excellent. I was a little off tune, but it was very good. I love that you tried. So, according to grades and intelligence testing, introverts come out smarter than extroverts. I knew that would get a woot woot. I knew that would actually get a woot woot. The 61% of you. Yeah. Now, there was an interesting study done where two strangers were actually on the phone. They were talking. The one that talked more was deemed more likable, more credible, and better looking. This is on the phone. I will admit, when my mother, who is very biased when it comes to people she deems as too quiet, shy, potentially introverted, met my wonderful husband for the very first time. Now recognize, I'm 5'2", my husband's 6'4", big white guy. We look like a semicolon together. It's not a good look, but whatever, we make it work. And she originally met him. She pulls me aside and she says, "What if you marry this man? What happens if you marry this man? What if you have children with this man? They will be in the back row of the class photograph, but they'll be too stupid to know why they're there." Kid you not? Did someone say that was savage? Did you just say that? Oh, my mom's a savage. She is, true. She is. She's a savage. And she has no filter. It's worse. She has no, anyway. We have 2 mochaccino children. The marriage worked. She eventually liked him about 10 years into the marriage. All good. But why would this bias occur? Well, think about it. Extroverts, particularly in meetings, take the power because we can think quickly on our feet. Now, that doesn't mean that extroverts don't have something to say. It just means they don't necessarily think quickly on their feet, and so they don't draw the attention towards them. So, a best practice that I would love for every one of you to implement, and we'll see if you're doing it now, and be honest, before every meeting that you facilitate, do you send an agenda in advance? Give me a woot woot. Doesn't matter if it's a weekly meeting, if it's a meeting that you just called. Give me a woot woot if you send an agenda in advance each and every time. That was less bird-like, so that's good. But I would have loved to hear a roar, like when the athletes came in, we needed the roar, because that is one of your best success factors to ensure everybody is seen, heard, and acknowledged during a meeting. If you want to prepare people for success, give them an agenda in advance, because minimally they will be prepared to know what they need to do when they come to that meeting. If you don't let them know what's expected of them, well, how are they supposed to perform? So let's minimally, if you take nothing else from today's keynote, always, always, always send an agenda in advance of every meeting that you ever attend. Now, introverts are not effective leaders. Sing it with me. Myth! Absolutely, they're effective leaders. But why would they be effective leaders? Well, think about it. They are not needing to draw the attention as much as an extrovert, and so they are more apt to listen to the ideas offered and implement them. There is a reason that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and often our introverts are excellent listeners, whereas our extroverts sometimes like to hear ourselves a little bit more. I had to monetize that. I mean, come on. I talk for a living. I have to really ensure, I'm a very curious person, so I'm often asking a lot of questions. But I need to make sure that I'm always making sure the other person is getting as much equal time as I am when it comes to the conversation. So just be aware of that. There's an interesting story. When gold medalist Marnie McBean was originally paired with Kathleen Heddle, she actually told her coach, "No way, I don't want to be paired with her." Kathleen didn't demonstrate extroverted qualities that Marnie McBean wanted to see in a winner. Kathleen Heddle was a steely, determined, quiet introvert, whereas Marnie wanted someone who was fierce, who was competitive, who showed a winning attitude, and she just felt that Kathleen didn't do that. The coach turned around and said, "Well, actually, Marnie, she's the best rower on the team. She's better than you." And you know how the story ends. They went on to win Olympic gold 3 times over. Marnie recognized that her own unconscious bias when it came to introverts was clouding how she was perceiving who a winner truly was. And we do this in the workplace when we start to think about people to promote. Our own unconscious biases might screen out before we screen in because we think that someone's not going to be a great fit as a leader, when in essence they might be the best fit. And that's why we need allies within our organizations. If someone was to simply say, "Why don't you think they'd be a great fit?" And when someone then describes the reasons why, they usually recognize their own bias once they start. But you need those people to interrupt the bias, to be allies in those situations. And that's how we start to become more inclusive and better together.
Now, in case
Quick
anyone
video.
does not know the difference between an introvert and an extrovert, quite simply, an extrovert is recharged by spending time with people, whereas an introvert is recharged by spending time alone. If you're still confused, as an example, if you consider 4 people in a room a party, you're probably an introvert. Extroverts are the exact opposite. If you have 15 people in a room and you still need 30 more to consider it a party, then you're probably an extrovert. Now, going to parties is absolutely terrifying for introverts. Terrifying. Like, it's easy to identify the introverts at a party because they're often hanging out near the snack table, making frequent trips to the restroom, staring at pictures on the wall for a little bit too long, or even finding meaningless tasks that can absorb their time, like cleaning up after everyone. Now, I'm an introvert, and I have no idea how to carry on a conversation with someone else. I just can't do it. Like, someone will come up to me, "Hey, Doug, how are you?" "I'm good, how are you?" "Oh, I'm fine. Good. How's, your... I really like, Okay, bye. I like people. When I see people from a distance, I will generally think, that looks like a very nice person. I hope that their life goes very well for them. Really. I want everyone to feel welcome. I want everyone to feel loved and appreciated. I just don't want to be the person that has to do it. I just have a hard time talking to people that I don't know. Like, someone that I knew was trying to get me connected with someone else, and they asked, "Can I have so-and-so call you?" "Yeah, I mean, of course you can have them call me. I'm not going to pick up, but you can have them call." Like, if you've ever dialed a phone number and said to yourself, "Come on, voicemail, come on, voicemail," you might be an introvert. Now, it's very hard to explain introversion to someone that is an extrovert because it doesn't make any logical sense. Like, I literally get exhausted if someone is talking too much or giving me too many details. How is that even possible? Like, someone is speaking. All I have to do is sit completely still and allow the vibration of the air from their voice to enter the holes inside of my head. That's it. That's all I have to do, and yet somehow this can be a physically exhausting process for me. Like, some people talk so much I feel like I have to take a nap after our conversation. Like, some people just go on, don't they? Now, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, I'm sure you know someone that will not stop talking, and hopefully no one in the audience is thinking about me right now. Now, you do all the subtle hints to let the person know that they're talking a little bit too much. Like, you'll look at your watch, yawn, start looking around, maybe pacing back and forth, even start slowly backing toward the door. Nothing works. Now, for these kinds of people, I have a solution to this problem. I've decided to start carrying a squirt gun. When it's time to go, squirt! That's it. Someone comes up and says, "Can you believe the price of milk went up 14 cents? I called every grocery store in town. Squirt! My cat did the cutest thing yesterday. Squirt! You should squirt!" It doesn't actually hurt anyone, but it does give you a moment of silence to get away if you need to.
All righty. This is funny. So let's talk a little bit about strategies in order to include our introverts in a more effective way. So first of all, time, and I already broached on this. We want to give our introverts some time to prepare. And so minimally sending that agenda in advance, sending an email before you walk into someone's office to discuss. They need time to put their thoughts together. I have a wonderful new EA. She's been with me for over a year now. I had no idea, to be honest, when she interviewed with me that she's extremely introverted. And it took us a little while because I would just call her. I would call her and she just wouldn't be able to perform. And then I realized, she finally said, "Well, actually, I'm panicking and processing right now." And I said, "Why?" And she had a lot of questions, but she just was thinking I needed perfection right away. And when we realized she just is introverted, needed some preparation, like, it's a company of two, but I would send her an agenda before our Zooms every week. She'd knock it out of the ballpark, to the point where now I've said, just stay with me till retirement. Is that okay? Is that too much to ask for you? That's all I want. So communication, think about what type of communication you're employing. Are you the type of person that uses MS Teams and sees someone is available and you ping them? Are you the type of person that picks up a phone and expects an answer? Are you the type of person that texts and expects an answer? Because you might have more response if you email somebody because they'll have time to think. If you email someone and say, "I'm going to be coming to see you tomorrow, can we be ready for this conversation?" So just think about what you're doing to others. Is it the most effective way to communicate? So this will sound very strange for those of us that have no issues at all about public recognition. So when someone, depending on where you fell on that introversion and extroversion scale, and some of you may have fallen at the 10 mark or the 9 or the 11, means you're actually ambiverted. Similar to ambidextrous, you're going to fall in the middle, which means different situations might make you more extroverted, some might make you more introverted. So if you fell right there, that's what that means. When someone is extremely introverted, even something as simple as recognizing them in the workplace publicly can feel very daunting. Case in point, my husband is a hockey coach for our son, and when my son's team, he was 8 years old at the time, it was my husband's birthday, I brought this massive box of Tim Hortons donuts because I thought the little boys and girls could sing him happy birthday in the change room. And we live in Calgary, and every rink is 45 minutes away. So we're driving to the rink, and he sees the donuts, and he's like, what are those for? I said, I just thought the kids could sing a happy birthday after the game, no biggie. No, that's a bad idea, I think, isn't it? It's terrible. How is it? It's donuts. They actually don't even care about you. They just want the frosting. Don't worry about it. Oh, this is a very bad idea. Very bad, I think. This is one of your worst ideas ever. And we eventually had this fight to the point where I got to the rink. I'm about to huck these donuts into a low-ass disposal, and he looks at me and he's like, what are you doing? Those are my donuts. It took him 40 minutes to process the fact that 8-year-olds were going to sing him happy birthday in a very stinky change room, for those of you that play hockey. It didn't compute. It was very hard for him to be formally recognized that way. The last thing, space. So if you have an open space concept in your workplace, or if you wonder why people wish to work remotely, sometimes people find those open space concepts can be very daunting, particularly for introverts that need a little bit more space. They find it hard to converse. Some people are HSPs, meaning highly sensitive people. They can't handle the noise. So just be inclusive in terms of why do people want to work the way they want to work. Alrighty, now the last component of diversity that I want to talk about today is cultural diversity. Cultural diversity. So our changing demographic in Canada, and this very much applies actually to educational institutions where you do have a lot of international students, our demographic, what I've plotted here today on the PowerPoint, are our top source immigrants that are coming into Canada right now. So our top numbers of immigrants are currently coming from China, India, the Philippines, Pakistan. We're also seeing prevalence from Korea and Syria. Those are our top immigrant clients currently coming in. So what I want to get over to you is the difference between individualism and collectivism. So this was a concept originally introduced by Geert Hofstadter. Geert Hofstadter was a cultural sociologist. He worked with IBM. He noticed that there were so many different ethnicities within IBM, but there was also a lot of conflict. And so he thought if he could create 5 different paradigms of thinking to show where people might fall on those scales, it might give people an awareness as to how people think, act, behave, communicate. And so what he did was he plotted, the only one due to time, I'm only going over one of those paradigms that he went through, which is the difference between individualism and collectivism. So we in Canada are very individualistic in nature, meaning that we know when we go to Starbucks, we know exactly what order we want. We know what our own achievements are, our own goals are, our own wishes. And we fall at about 80 out of 100 on that individualism versus collectivism scale, 80 being high, 100 being at the highest you can go. Interestingly enough, when you have a 10-point spread in between 2 countries, you will notice a difference in thinking. So even if you're geographically close, you might notice a shift in how people think, behave, and act. The United States sits at 90. So even though we're so darn close, we can, you could fly quicker to parts of the States than you can to parts of Canada, we think differently. Now, interestingly enough, the top source immigrants currently coming into Canada today are all collectivist in nature. And why I've plotted those particular numbers is to show you how collectivist certain cultures are. So you can see Pakistan being the most collectivist of our top source. China, which a lot of Chinese students come to our educational institutions, being second most. So what does that mean? Well, collectivists are much more family-oriented, community-oriented. Why I use Starbucks as an example is because it's a global example. Let's say, for example, I'm just so excited after this keynote that I take True and Patty and Kevin, we go out for Starbucks coffee, and in this position, I'm gonna treat them, so I'm in the position of hierarchy. Well, chances are they're all gonna have different Starbucks orders. But let's change the location. If I was to change that location now and go to Malaysia, I wouldn't ask them what they wanted to drink. I would order the same drink for all of us to keep harmony. And I would probably get 2 desserts with 2 forks, and we'd share them. And if you're ever sort of wondering, gee, is someone potentially collectivist or individualistic? Well, think of how you would order at a restaurant. If you were to order at a Chinese food restaurant, we usually order family style, meaning we're sharing plates, collectivist. If you were to order at Montana's, which is an American-based restaurant, someone's getting the ribs, someone's getting the Caesar salad, someone's getting a steak, individual dishes. So that's kind of your quick tip on how you can figure out where someone falls in that scale. I did not add our Africans on here, but they would very much fall on the collectivist side for sure. And our Indigenous brothers and sisters in Canada absolutely would fall on the collectivist side. So think about when someone is potentially, and I'll use interviewing as an example, because you all had to apply at some point for a job. Think about, are our interviews inclusive? Because we tend to start with questions such as icebreakers, just to get people at ease before they go into the technical interview. And so we will ice break using chit-chat topics of conversation. So for fun, I'm going to count you off. 1, 2, 3, I'm going to count you off, and I want you to yell out that top ice-breaking chit-chat conversation that we as Canadians default to when we meet someone for the very first time, okay? On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Did you hear that? Because I sure did. I heard weather. Now, it's not like your kindergarten teacher sat you down and said, okay, when you meet someone for the very first time, I want you to talk about weather, okay? Rain, snow, sleet, hail, go there. We love talking about weather in Canada. It's great, just go there. We want to talk about it all the time. No, we don't. It's just part of our Canadian culture. It's learned behavior. And because of that learned behavior, think about it. We make impressions in 7 seconds or less. So let's pretend somebody came from another country. They came from Argentina. And you start launching into what'd you think of the weather today? Well, they don't chit-chat about weather in Argentina. They chit-chat about soccer. So what if somebody was coming from, so we have to ask ourselves ultimately, is culture fit a euphemism for affinity bias? Affinity bias is when we relate to people that remind us of ourselves. So ask yourself, are we screening out before we're screening in? We might even be doing that with students because they're not reminding us necessarily of ourselves. If they can't even chitty-chat about the weather, ooh, what an awkward student. So let's say, you have a student that just arrived from India, and you want to make them feel welcome, so you start chatting about the weather. They don't talk about the weather in India. It's frickin' hot in India. They don't want to talk about it. Top chit-chat topics in India would be cricket, Indian politics. I'm Indo-Canadian, I could not talk about Indian politics. And does anyone have a guess as to what the #1 topic of chit-chat conversation might be in India? Someone said food very loudly. You are wrong. But that was a great guess. Bollywood. Bollywood, the Indian film industry. And so guess what we're going to do right now? We are going to add some fun to this keynote. I'm also going to prepare you for any one of your students that are from India, potentially inviting you to their weddings one day. I'm going to teach you how to do a Bollywood Bhangra together. Now, get up. If you can't physically get up, you can do this sitting. My remote attendees need to get up too. Now, the moves are going to show up on the PowerPoint, but I'm also going to be doing them. Now, this is going to occur fast and furiously. Are you ready for it? All right, let's go. Ready? That was very impressive. Many honorary Indians in this crowd. A Slido just came up for you to answer. They're coming, these answers are coming up fast and furiously. I hope that my remote employees did it too. So, very cocky group here at Georgian College at 37% saying that you rocked it. We have 28% that said it was surprisingly delightful. 18% that said I danced like nobody was watching, hoping nobody was watching. And a very small percentage needs to stretch ever so slightly. I believe I pulled a muscle. So this gentleman in, well, you're all wearing blue shirts. It's very hard to get a hold of him. You with the beard, he even knew. You get my Starbucks today. Out of curiosity, how did you answer that Slido, sir? What was your answer?
I danced like nobody was watching.
Oh, I was watching, honey. It was so good. He was like, I mean, I really thought you got some cardio in there. Like he even moved away, like from his table. He got space. It was awesome. All righty. So I want to go over different speaking styles of people that come from all over the world, just to give you some insights. You might have staff that aren't originally from Canada. You might have students, and this will help bridge the communication gap. So first of all, reflexive speakers. Not all, but some Latin Americans will start to repeat what you're saying using the exact same tone and intonation that you're using. If you did not come today, you would find that very annoying. However, because you came today, you will learn that that is to show you respect. That they are letting you know that they have heard everything that you've said, and they're acknowledging it by repeating what you said using the exact same tone and intonation. The interrupters, people coming from Latin America, Latin Europe, France, the Middle East, and South Asia, tend to interrupt the conversation. In Canada, even our communication style is polite. We try not to interrupt others. In France, the conversation will sound more like a tennis match. They'll talk over one another. And if they're not being interrupted, they assume you're not engaged in the conversation. I finally asked my parents, I said, because I'm a very dutiful Indo-Canadian daughter, I call them every day, I'm like, you guys interrupt me all the time. No, we don't interrupt you. Why would we interrupt you? Yeah, I don't know. We don't interrupt. You kind of do. We don't interrupt. Yeah, you kind of do. We don't interrupt you. You kind of do. Okay, but it is only to add some actual value to this conversation. The direct communicators, people coming from the US, the UK, Germany, the Netherlands, and Eastern Europe, tend to be direct in their communication style. So what does that mean? Less words, less tone and intonation, less nonverbal. Unfortunately, the perception is, say it out loud, what? How are they perceived? I heard a lot of rude. So they might be rude, or it might be cultural. So just to keep that in mind. And the last one, and this is where it gets really complicated, your indirect communicators. So people coming from Japan, Southeast Asia, parts of the Middle East might be very indirect in their communication style. What does that mean? They might say, yes, I'll have the assignment done in 2 weeks, when in essence it's, I'm so not getting that done for you. So they'll say yes, but they actually mean no, particularly to people in hierarchical positions, which a lot of you are, being profs, instructors at a college. Why would they do that? 2 key reasons. They want to save face. And when I say save face, they want to save face for them, but they also want to save face for you. Because if they feel that you didn't do your job well enough to teach them how to do this assignment, they're not going to say, I don't understand. They're going to say, I'm going to get that done for you. When in essence, it's going to be, I don't understand. So the easiest way to navigate that is don't ask a lot of yes or no questions. Keep them open-ended. So why does diversity matter in the first place? Well, according to the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation, when we increase diversity minimally by 1%, we will see an increase in profits minimally by 2.4%. So a $10 million organization will make $240,000 increase in profit. When we look at generational diversity, it not only increases retention within organizations, it saves money, which makes sense. You don't have the turnover. When we have that behavioral diversity, lots of introverts, extroverts, we increase our collaboration, which obviously makes sense, that diversity of perspective, which then leads to more innovation. And according to the McKinsey Institute, the leading authority when it comes to diversity stats, when we increase ethnic diversity minimally within an organization, we will see potentially a 35% increase in outperformance. Now, before I finish today, I wanted to end today's keynote with a video. Is Kleenex a sponsor of this conference? That one gets people. I want you to take a quick look at this picture, and I'm only putting it on for 2 seconds. It was about, and you can actually right now, if you'd like a handout of today's key takeaways, not that 31% of you need this, but I'm also going to send you the How to Bollywood video. It's come up on your Slido now, and I'm going to tell, while you're filling that out, I will tell you that story about the slide that I just showed for nanoseconds. If you noticed, it was, again, was our fish theme. But what was interesting is that photo was shown to a group of both Asians and North Americans. And it was a collaborative study done by psychologists both in Asia and in the US. And what they noticed is that the North Americans focused on the fish. They weren't showed the picture for very long, but the North Americans always noticed the fish. And the Asians noticed, and I don't know if you noticed this, the 3 colors of water, the frog that was in there, the algae. They noticed the directions that the fish were going into. And it goes to show why we want inclusive workplaces when it comes to diversity and collaboration. I see some people are still completing that, so I'll tell you a quick story. And it's one that warms my heart. It's a personal story. My son just finished his first year of engineering. And my son is a lot like his mother. He likes to party hard. Don't judge me. And so, of course, he went into engineering. And he went to every social event. And what he noticed was that he made friends. He's an inclusive kid. He had friends from all over the world in engineering. And he noticed his Muslim friends were not going to any of the social events. But what he also noticed was that at these social events, a lot of the internships were being talked about at those social events. Where to apply, who to apply with, who knew dads and moms that worked in particular oil and gas companies that could get them connected. And my son noticed that there was a systemic barrier for these Muslim kids due to their religious and cultural practices. So he talked to his friends and he said, guys, drive me to the party. I need a driver. But then come to the party minimally so that you are not losing out on these opportunities. You don't have to drink. You can respect that. Get a mocktail. Drive me. I need the ride. But come. And what I loved about this story is that at the tender age of 18, he's becoming an inclusive leader and an ally in the space. And that's the generation of our future, which warms my heart. I'll share one last quote with you, or it's not a quote, just a sum up. If you were to put a koi fish in a regular fish tank, it would only grow to 3 inches. If you were to put that same koi fish in a community aquaria, it would actually triple in size. I very much want to thank Georgian College for inviting me here today. It's been my honor. I hope you have a fantastic school year. I think education is our future. Stay positive, test negative. Thank you so much, everybody.
Wow, thank you, Tina. Pretty tough to follow that, and very tough to follow that video. You've given us much to think about and many great takeaways. You also reminded us that while our workplaces continue to change, we can intentionally and mindfully co-create Georgian's working environment together. One where we all feel included and we're proud to be part of, and we can have fun along the way. I personally appreciated your metaphor to the community aquaria. That was a new one for me, and I appreciate that. You also reminded us that we're all leaders and we all have a role to play. And I truly believe that. I also thank you for challenging our biases and helping us understand ourselves and as well as others so we can intentionally be more inclusive. And lastly, your key point of diversity matters and inclusion starts with I. I think those are great takeaways for us. More on the fun side, I will say, Tina, you just reminded me I have no rhythm whatsoever. I did have an opportunity to dance a little bonga, and there's a couple of people in the room, I won't call you out, but you know, you were there with me in Chandigarh in 2014. And I felt like I rocked it then, but I don't know if I rocked it today. But I do appreciate your approach to a very important and serious topic, and I think it's one that resonates with all of us here at Georgian. Thank you again, Tina. Before we connect over lunch, I want to share a little more gratitude with Team Georgian. I'll start with some excellent news about enrollment, which is always top of mind as we head into September. It's no secret to anyone in this room that managing our enrollment over the past few years has been a challenge. We've had to adjust our sales as we experience the impact of the pandemic, changing demographics, labor market shifts, and an increasingly competitive environment. You met those challenges head on, and you supported Georgian through the bumpy period in so many ways, and here are just a few. Team Georgian upped our domestic and international marketing and recruitment efforts, increasing the college's visibility and making it possible for more students to get to know us. You introduced new strategies and technology to enhance our connections with students. Everything from the launch of a new applicant portal and credit transfer experience to the evolution of our Georgian website. You offered students more flexibility in certain programs to attract new markets. And you introduced new programs, not only to meet market demands, but anticipate what skills and experience our students will need for the future. Every department and academic area across the college continued to help facilitate critical connections and influence a student's decision to choose Georgian in so many ways. Your participation in events like Open House and in the interactions you had with the students and members of the community was and remains critical. As a result of these collective efforts and so much more, fall enrollment looks very strong. I am pleased to share that Georgian has the largest year-over-year growth in total domestic applications compared to all large and medium-sized colleges. It's absolutely outstanding. And this will be our first increase in semester one enrollment for the fall semester in 10 years. We expect to exceed our plan of 3,233 semester one domestic students by about 100 students. Several programs also exceeded their plan this year, which is the result of outstanding collaboration between our academic areas and various departments. We're seeing efforts to diversify our international markets paying off too, with 40% of our new semester one students coming from markets like Nepal, Nigeria, the Philippines, Vietnam, and South and Central America. We expect to exceed our semester one international enrollment plan by about 180 students and welcome approximately 1,900 new international students this fall. And we're on track with both returning domestic and international students. Again, this is all because of you. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah, let's give a round of applause. The second thing I want to share this morning is also an appreciation of your collective efforts. I'm extremely proud to share, and you're hearing it here first, that we've been redesignated as an Ashoka U Changemaker College. As many of you know, this is the leading designation for social innovation in higher education, and right now we remain Canada's first and only college to have achieved it. Woo-hoo. Absolutely. We know others will follow Georgian and may join us with this designation, but we truly are Canada's Changemaker College. This designation remains a significant differentiator for Georgian and our students, and here's why we've earned it. Every post-secondary institution offers similar programs and services, but it's how we offer ours that makes the difference. Change-making informs and is reflected in all we do, both inside and outside the classroom. It influences how we approach our work and connect with our students, partners, and each other. At its heart is empathy, collaboration, creativity, and a passionate desire to make a difference. And Georgian has proven time and again that we can do just that, both in the lives of our students and in our campus communities. We've also amplified our leadership as Canada's Changemaker College by responding with vigor to the urgent call to action from the United Nations to address the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Both the college at large and our students signed the SDG Accord for educational institutions to hold ourselves accountable to do this great work. Through your focused efforts in collaboration with our partners, I've seen positive ripple effects everywhere. For example, in hospitality, tourism, and recreation, students have been working with faculty to reduce the college's carbon footprint. We're now using reusable containers for Bun on the Run, reducing single-use plastics. They've built a compost area and expanded the Georgian Garden. And they've introduced beehives to support our culinary programs and these important pollinators, which led us to recently being named a Bee Campus by Bee City Canada. Being responsive to these goals and playing our part is critical to the sustainability of our campus communities and our planet. And I know each department and academic area could give countless other examples, and I encourage you to share those successes. 3 years ago, during the pandemic, when so much was in flux, we anchored ourselves to one simple guiding North Star statement: to deliver an unrivaled student experience. We knew we could serve students better by reducing frustration, helping them get the information they needed at the right point along their journey from registration to graduation. In response, and with substantial collaboration, teams across Georgian launched several new systems this year. And those systems are not only enhancing the student experience, but enabling us to work smarter. My GC Life is a good example of this. A one-stop self-serve portal for students where they can find answers to service-related questions faster, connect with student services, and track inquiries and tickets, all from one platform. And there's so many other examples. I know we've all felt inundated by change and new technology. But as I've said before and will continue to reiterate, technology isn't meant to replace the personalized connections we share with each other and with our students. It's a tool we can use to enhance them. We are also being recognized as a leader in the college system for our efforts. Georgian was the first Ontario college to implement the OCAS Domestic On-Demand solution, enabling a near real-time admissions experience. In addition, our colleagues in the Centre for Teaching and Learning presented at the Blackboard Anthology Together conference this summer, sharing how the human-centered and innovative approach we adopted was a key factor in our successful transition from Blackboard Original to Blackboard Ultra. This is fantastic recognition for Georgian and a reflection of your commitment to excellence and hard work. So again, thank you for those collective efforts. Team Georgian has been driving countless other innovations across the college too. Last fall, we launched our first Big Ideas Employee Innovation Challenge. It was a bit of an experiment, but we were thrilled to receive 140 submissions, 30 of those moving forward in 2023 with the financial support of $450,000. Thanks to the success of this campaign, you found ways to launch new and exciting environmental sustainability initiatives, make valuable improvements to campus digital and physical spaces, and that's just to name a few. We're going to launch our next Big Ideas campaign in October, and it'll have a different focus this year. So I encourage you to watch for announcements soon, and please participate. As I've shared with you this morning, Team Georgian continues to demonstrate its outstanding commitment to our students and their success. And I'm confident we will continue to deliver an unrivaled student experience together. It's now time we turn our focus inward. Georgian, like many other organizations, has faced tremendous change. So has our senior leadership. Just as an example, 3 of our vice presidents only started with us in January. Thank you for your patience and support of them and me as we navigate these new waters. One thing I know to be true is that we can't deliver an unrivaled student experience without having an unrivaled employee one. Unrivaled means different things to different people, but it's about consistently outperforming the rest and constantly striving for better. To me, it's ultimately about how you feel about your Georgian experience and the pride you have in working here. It's also about ensuring you have the information, tools, and supports you need in order to bring your best self to work. Many of you participated in our employee engagement survey last fall, as well as follow-up virtual focus groups. Your feedback was invaluable, and it helped us identify key areas where Georgian needs to invest to create a better work environment. Your input has inspired Georgian's employee experience strategy and is helping us to map out an improvement plan. All right. Thank you. This plan considers all the touch points you have with Georgian throughout your employment journey, from recruitment to exit or retirement. It also captures the different needs and experiences of various employee groups. More than 600 of you engaged with us this spring to help further inform a positive, holistic strategy, and I deeply appreciated your candor and your ideas. There were themes and consistent feedback that emerged, and I want you to know we heard you loud and clear. For example, you shared that our culture is student-centered and you're proud of the work we do to support our students. This is what energizes you, and it energizes me too. However, the positive team environment isn't the same everywhere, and we need to do more to create a consistent Team Georgian experience. Equity and inclusiveness are cornerstones of our culture. But you also told us that we need to go further to create a place where everyone truly feels as though they belong and their voice matters. No matter your work location or your role, all of you should feel valued and empowered to contribute. We also heard you're struggling with the new demands of collaborating in a hybrid environment. It's not as easy to connect when you don't see your colleagues every day. And one of the other things you shared is that you find it difficult to interact with colleagues outside of your department. If we can't collaborate across departments, we will miss those critical opportunities to improve programs and services, not only for our students, but for our alumni, our partners, and each other. Again, many thanks for your feedback on these themes and more. We're now in the final stages of our plan, and it will be shared with you soon. What I will say this morning is that Georgian will be making a significant investment in improving the employee experience, starting with some tangible changes you'll see as early as this fall. Some of the projects we'll undertake include building a better onboarding experience for new employees, optimizing our processes, making sure you can access the information, tools, and supports you need to do your job and better serve students through a new and enhanced portal. We also want to make sure you feel supported in your career development at Georgian, and we'll continue to enhance learning and feedback opportunities to help us grow and build the skills we need to tackle the challenges we face and meet workforce demands for the future. There's much more to come on this, but I wanted you to hear from me that employee experience is the senior leadership team's #1 priority this year. We're going to make investments not only in these and other projects, but in the resources to support and ensure success of this work. It's critical we do that. You've heard me say so many times that we're here to learn and grow, just like our students. And that's what we'll do through this as well, iterating as we go. One of my favorite parts of my job as your president is hearing your stories, whether in a meeting, a conversation in the hall, or just through coffee even this morning. Stories truly connect us. They can inspire, inform, influence, and educate. Help us better understand ourselves and others, and move us into allyship and action. As we head into a new academic year, I encourage you to continue to share yours. Tell us what you get up to in the classroom or in the community. Let us know about your achievements and success. Tag Georgian on social media, send in news submissions to the employee portal. We want to celebrate you and amplify your stories. I also love hearing our students' stories. I'm often moved by their courage, starting or changing careers, making better lives for themselves and their families, many bravely coming to a new country to call Georgian home. I'm inspired by the ways our students persist, sometimes through challenging circumstances, and with you along the way, offering compassionate, timely support so they can flourish. Here's a little video I want to share that brings it all home for me.
Immediately when I first came to Georgian and I did the tour here, I found that the people were really kind and friendly, and everyone was just very open to you coming and kind of wanting you to experience what Georgian was really about. And I think that they are really about trying to uplift students.
When COVID hit, I was living in Alberta and I pretty much lost everything. It was tough on my body, on me mentally. It was exhausting, and I was super worried and super scared to come here because I'm in my 30s and I haven't been to school in a very long time, and I felt out of place. But when I got here, everybody was just super welcoming. The teachers have been phenomenal.
I don't think I was ready for the college experience. I took some time off. I took I think 5 years off. Mom, Dad, why don't I just try again for CIC? And I did.
So when my oldest was born, he spent quite a long time in Sick Kids in Toronto, and watching the ladies there work as a well-oiled machine together to take care of him, to give him life-saving care was absolutely amazing. And they treated me so well. And in my time of need, they made me feel like I was the only person that existed. And I want to be able to do that for somebody else.
The last time I studied, like 2009, so it's been like 12 years, 13 years. So I think going back to school is quite the hardest thing for me right now.
Like a major obstacle that I was facing when the to Georgian was being out of work, wondering, can I do this comfortable in the job that I have now? Do I really want to jump back into school? And if I can give a piece of advice to my younger self, I would say just keep going, stay on the same path. I'm happy with where I'm at, and I think that the challenges that faced along the way have made me grow as a person. So
the college offers a lot of support to students, especially international students. Everybody's just been really welcoming, especially because I'm the only international student in my course. All Canadians are like super nice and all. Thought they were just over exaggerating, but totally not.
My experience this time around is better because it's more like I'm more engaged in coming to school every day. I'm more engaged with the staff. Like I want to do the work, I want to do well, I want to graduate.
I work full-time as well as being a part-time student and a full-time mom. And once a week I go for chemotherapy because I have, for the last 4 years, have been fighting cancer.
You get to build relationships with the staff that you get to be with 2 years, right? You get to build that relationships with staff. Like they're really friendly, you can talk to them. They help you with help you if you are struggling with school or.
Oh, Briar and my program coordinator were very, very helpful. They helped and they got me through a lot of things that I can never thank them for enough.
So initially in the fall, I had a kind of a rough time with the oral practical final exam. It kind of set me back and I felt like it was just gonna be hard, and we have them every year, so I was kind of hesitant on continuing just because I was set back in my journey here as a student. But I decided, with a lot of support from both my parents and also friends that I have and also the staff, they helped me navigate me in the way that I should keep going, because I'm not somebody who quits things easily, and I'm definitely happy that I kept going because I think this is the path for me, and excited to keep going and show people that you can keep doing things even if they're hard.
It is important that we plan for our future and we use our past as lesson on our decisions for future goals. But living in the moment, enjoying your time with your families and your friends, because time flies so fast, and once it's gone, you can never get it back.
I want my children to see, no matter what, how sick Mom was, she still kept going and she lived her dream. And that's my dream, is to cross that stage and have my kids watch me.
I want to be a change maker. I want to tear it all down and rebuild it back up. I want to help as many people as I can.
What an inspiring video. How impressive our students are. And you saw through that video, every student talked about you in the room. It's the people here that made the difference. It's the impact Team Georgian has on our students and their experience. And I want you to know each of you plays such a critical part in their journey. So once again, please accept my sincere gratitude. Over the next few weeks, our role, Team Georgian's main role, is to put our collective arms around new and returning students, to answer questions, connect them to resources, to be a welcoming place and help foster that sense of belonging. We want students to know that we believe in them. We're here for them. We're lucky to have them, and that our workplaces, campus communities, and our world need them. So let's show our students what we already know, and that's Georgian's best unkept secret is you, our people. Again, thank you, Team Georgian, for joining us this morning. I wish you well. Let's have a great academic year ahead. Chi Miigwech, thank you. And one last thing before lunch is becoming our new tradition. We have Dave and our student athletes are going to come up and lead us in a Grizzly cheer to send us off in a spirit of positivity. Let's roll.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to be back. As Kevin said, my name is David LaLiberte. I am the manager of athletics, recreation, and cheerleading at Georgian College. I guess last year was such a great success, they asked me to come back again and lead a big cheer here as we wrap up this great event. I am the only one standing between you and lunch, so I will make sure to keep this very quick. Now, that said, because I'm the one standing between you and lunch, you need to listen to me. Everybody needs to participate. If I don't see everybody participating, we will just do it again and again and again until I see everybody participating.
That includes you online.
And including those online. That's a very good point. Yes, we're broadcasting live across 7 campuses. Before we run into the cheer, I just want to maybe give a quick shout out to these great students here. We have staff and varsity athletes that are helping us today. A lot of these students here, first time at Georgian College. They haven't even started their classes, nothing. They're going through training. They're doing a lot of work this week to get ready for next week. So thank you for all of them for showing up today. A couple of them were a little bit nervous to be participating in such a large crowd, but glad they stuck with us and did this. So if I could ask everybody, if everybody could stand up. I'm going to walk you through this again. I think we did this last year. Those online, please stand up as well. So we're going to divide the room in half, right about here, give or take. Give or take. So, this half right here, let's go. Do we got it? Okay. This half right here, Grizzlies, not lies, lees. I know, same joke as last year, I get it, same joke. A good one works, that's it. So let's practice once, we'll give it a try here. So let's go, and on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was good, that was okay. One more time. Maybe we should have a prize. If you guys do it louder, whoever size does it louder, what we'll do is we'll give gym memberships to the staff. That's what we'll do. Whichever side gets louder, that side gets some gym memberships for all staff. Okay, one more time. Let's practice one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was good. Okay, this one's the big one, okay? Is everybody ready? And then after that, I want a giant cheer, okay? Giant cheer. So we're going to do Let's Go Grizzlies, and then I just want the crowd to erupt, okay? Erupt. Big cheer. Everybody ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, yeah.
Well done.
That is fantastic.
Thank you, David. Thank you, student athletes. Have a great day, everyone. Go Grizzlies.
Quick announcement. Just to let you know, the food isn't going to be served, but we're going to do this as a wedding. So just to let you know, DJ True right here is going to be calling out table numbers. And as DJ True calls out the table numbers, you can go up and grab your food. One last shameless plug. September 15th, 7:30 p.m., J.C. Massey Field, our varsity home opener, our rugby team. Georgian Grizzlies against the Conestoga Condors. Be there.
Okay. All right. Madeline. Did I say right?